Hello and welcome to Eye on the Money, the television show that gives you insights into how to improve your financial well-being as well as make your money work for you. I'm Ingrid Nantege. Today on the show, we look at how you can leverage on the 52-week savings challenge to achieve your financial goals. Now, the new year is a great time to set some good financial goals. Saving money is a key aspect to financial success. Experts advise that you save at least 10% of your income each month. This money will add up quickly. You should also consider saving this amount in addition to your retirement contributions. Well, that's if you can afford it. By establishing a savings habit now, you're opening the doors for what you can do during your retirement years. If you're struggling to find ways to save, you can start by looking into the 52-week saving challenge, which allows you to put away money for 52 weeks of the year, in turn achieving your financial goals. Now, joining me on the show today to explain the concept behind the 52-week savings challenge and how it can help you achieve those financial goals is none other than Felista Wangari, personal finance and finance literacy champion. You're welcome to the show, Felista.
Thank you.
Now, this 52-week saving challenge, it has almost become a staple for people. Yes. Unless you live under a rock, I'm sure you've encountered it. Like if you're into the business of saving, which I feel like all of us should be in the business of saving, you've in one way or another thought about or tried your hand out at the 52-week saving challenge.
Exactly.
But now for our friends out there who might be living under a rock or who might have questions about this challenge, just bring us up to speed about the concept behind it and what's the basic principle? How does it work?
Okay, so the 52-week savings challenge is a global thing. Like people do it around the world, including Kenya and other countries. So it leverages on the 52 weeks of the year, starting with a little amount which increases every week. So by the starting amount, and so usually it encourages you, like you can start with 50 Kenya shillings. That's less than $1, and you're able to, you feel that's okay, I can do 50 shillings. The next week you do 100 shillings. So each week you multiply the beginning amount by the week number. So week 350 times 3, 150, and it continues getting higher until the 52nd week in December, when you're saving like lots of money. So if you find that difficult for you, you can take the total amount, which is 68,900 Kenya shillings, divide it by 12 and get a monthly figure of 6,000, or divide it by weekly amounts of 52 and get a stable figure, a uniform figure that you can save comfortably. But if you want to start small, you can start with the 50 and increase it over time.
Right.
Yeah.
Felista, and you've done a very good job also explaining of you can get the whole figure, divide it, figure out how you're going to make this work.
Exactly.
So if I'm someone, but I'm sure the reason why they start with a small figure is because like I feel like when you break it down,
yes,
it seems almost more feasible.
Exactly.
And it makes more sense.
Yes.
Which brings me to the question of, I mean, we all know how January goes. There are even jokes around it,
Yes.
People barely make it through January.
Yes.
So, and this is a savings challenge that's supposed to start with the first week of the year and span all the way through to the final week of the year.
Okay.
So for someone who maybe has had a rough start to the year, right? January, I have to get kids' school fees out of the way. I'm only just surviving because I've spent a fortune in the festive season. Well, basically, I have so many things to deal with.
Yes.
And I have to get my finances in order. So I decide to jump on late, maybe in the 3rd month or the 4th month. What would you advise when it comes to that in terms of meeting your targets? First of all, is that advisable? In terms of if you jump on 4 months late, and how can someone achieve that considering finances haven't increased?
Yes.
It's just that they were just getting themselves in order.
Exactly. So what happens is for most people, January maximum your saving is about 500 Kenya shillings in total. Because 50, 100, 150, 200, total 500. Most people will find that is doable despite how difficult the month is. And then February, it increases to about 1,500. So again, a lot of people will find that doable. And even if you felt, you know, I've really spent everything, I don't have a single coin on me except for food, which is fine. You can even start on the 4th month, that would be April. You can start from week 1. You can say April 1 is my week 1. Then do your 52 weeks up to April 2022. So it's very flexible. Right. Or you can say, okay, that amount is not too much. I can actually top up all those previous 4 months and, you know, catch up and continue until December. So it's really, really flexible. It's not like set in stone, you have to do it this way and there's no other way. You have to examine yourself and say, I won't make it to top up where people have reached right now, but I can start today as my week 1. Yeah.
So Felista, I know you run a group online on Facebook where people take part in this challenge, you know, accountability and all that. My question then is, when you're having a go at this 52-week saving challenge, from your experience and having worked, you know, with groups, and at the end of the day, you even account for it, decide where to invest. For someone who's run, you know, a group that does that, would you advise that people go at it as a group for purposes of accountability? Or if I'm someone who's trying to go at it on an individual level, what sort of advice would you give? What would be your take on that?
Okay, so for people who are trying to save for the first time, usually doing it alone, they find there are so many challenges, all sorts of, you know, false emergencies, because, you know, someone will borrow you money, you even take a loan for them. It's really not your emergency. Or you get a nice shoe somewhere and, you know, the seller is saying this is the last one, and, you know, it's really not an emergency, but you feel that urgency to do to buy that thing. So usually when you work together as a group, you support each other. You can say, I'm having this challenge, and people can encourage you and give you hacks to overcome that challenge. My challenge is impulse buying. My challenge is buying things on debt. My challenge is my savings account is accessible on mobile, so I end up spending all my savings on buying airtime. My challenge is I wait to save until after I have, you know, spent all the money and there's nothing left. So when you're working as a group, you're able to air out your obstacles and challenges and get advice and tips from other people who had the same challenge and have overcome it. But when you do it alone, it's easy to convince yourself to, you know, drop out, unless, you know, you have a really different kind of mindset, which most people don't have. There are people who actually do it alone successfully, but majority find they need that accountability mechanism, either from a group or from another individual who can, you know, help them get to their goal. Yeah.
Fantastic. You've mentioned it yourself, Felista. When it comes to this thing, you might encounter a couple of challenges, which, I mean, if you have the next person hand holding you, could take you a long way. I mean, when it generally comes to savings, a lot of people struggle.
True.
It boils down to a great amount of discipline. And a lot of times when you ask people, why don't you have savings put away, or how much do you have put away, they'll say, I don't have enough income to sustain me through the month, and also put some away on a rainy day. I'm literally just surviving, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. Every money that comes in, I have to put it to utilities. I have to put it to just surviving. So on the aspect of discipline, then I would ask for someone who comes out there and says, I have low incomes, my needs outweigh my finances. Is there room for modification?
Yes.
I mean, because for the general person, you might think 500 a month is not much. And then there's that someone out there who they can't, if they, in their minds, they feel like, I can't put that 500 away. So what would you say in terms of just customizing or modifying the challenge to fit someone's finances? What would you say about that?
Yeah, so for the 500, that's the basic one where most people prefer. And now people have even grown to go with the 100 one. Most members are asking to do the 100 one. And in the past, they used to do the 50 bob one. So people are growing as they go along. You can do even 10 shillings. You can start with 10 shillings if that's what's more comfortable with you. So first week, 10 shillings. Second week, 20. Third week, 30. So at the end of that month, you've saved less than 100 shillings, which is doable.
Right.
Yeah, so you can modify it to fit your circumstances and income, even as you think about how to increase your income in other ways to, you know, sustain you and grow your savings by investing little by little. Yeah. So there are ways you can modify to fit your circumstances, because there are people who will tell you 50 is too little for me, I want to start with 500. Right. And you tell them, yeah, that's okay, go ahead, and they're actually able to save. Yes.
So with that said then, you know, when we talk about savings, there's your savings that you're supposed to put away, the 10%, and then there's also what we've often been told by personal finance coaches or the experts, that emergency fund money, which is also not optional.
Yes.
So this 52-week savings challenge, does it account for that? Or is it strictly those savings that you put away? How would you explain, like, you know, the savings you're supposed to put away and the emergency fund money? Does it also incorporate that in there?
Yeah, so a lot of people starting on the 52-week challenge are starting to save for the first time. So we tell them, choose any goal that will actually motivate you to go through to the end. For some people, that's taking their moms for vacation, or themselves, or, you know, having not to worry about school fees, or having, you know, a stress-free December and January. So they are putting that money together for that. For some people, they want to buy a piece of land and, you know, feel that, you know, their goal to home ownership is coming to reality. So for the very first time, we advise people, you know, just choose a goal that will motivate you and go for it. And then now someone comes back and says, you know, I've been trying to save and I'm not able to save because there are emergencies coming up. And there could be real emergencies, like, you know, you lost your job, you got sick and you didn't have insurance, or insurance did not cover you properly, or there was some other reason why, you know, you had to get your savings, which is fine because you had savings in the first place to cover the emergency. But now the problem comes when there are all these emergencies all the time. So in fact, we were discussing it yesterday with one of the members who said that, you know, before I couldn't save because there were so many emergencies. So this year I'm doing it differently. I am building the emergency fund alongside the normal savings, and that is really working out for me because then I don't have to dip into my savings. And the pandemic here also taught us that, you know, the importance of saving, because a lot of people were caught unawares. Yeah.
Perfect. You've actually brought about the aspect of the goal behind the savings, which is something we're going to delve into real quick. But for now, I'm going to take a very, very quick break. You can be a part of the conversation by sending your feedback to our social media pages at Metropole TV KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back.